pursuits, run ahead and blindly.
I'm Jay.
I'm Tom.
And we are Velocities in Music, VIMTV. Today we're going to do the 2011 release, brand new, from the band Wire. It's called Red Bark Tree, which is a cool album title. I'm liking the album title. Wire is a post-punk band. They've been around for a while. This is like their 11th album. I don't know.
Somewhere on there.
Let's just say that this is the not end, but late in their career. Hopefully they keep on going, because you always want to see why do bands quit making music, especially good bands. You should keep making music forever. And Wire's had some big hit albums back in the day, but Red Bark Tree's actually gotten a lot of criticism from reviewers, lately, and whether it's warranted, nah, that's not really for us to decide, I guess. But what we're going to do is we're definitely going to lay down what we thought about this album. I think in general, we think that this album's a little bit better than what the general reviewing community is giving it.
Yeah.
It's just that, it is what it is. But Tom, what'd you think about Red Bark Tree?
I think it's good. I actually quite enjoyed this. There are definitely some problems with it. I'll get to the problems in a minute. One of the things I liked is that I think they're able to convey a spectrum of moods, ranging from the biting, sarcastic kind of anger and angst
that you hear from post-punk.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of the foundation of it, ranging from that all the way to kind of a slower, more sentimental, introspective kind of sound. You get that from like Clay, I believe, kind of a little more slower, serious track.
Track.
And so I like that it kind of goes back and forth between that, and what keeps it cohesive is the production, which I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with. And I want to address that real quick, because I can definitely understand why. I didn't have as big beef with it. I thought it was all right. I know one thing that a lot of people are saying is that the guitars are very washed out, and just huge in the sound, which I can kind of see. But for me, looking at the flip side of that, rather than focusing just on the guitar and how loud they are, I wanted to look at how that's affecting the bass and the vocals and the drums, which, to tell you the truth, when I try to focus on any one of those, I don't feel like the guitars are necessarily covering them up or pushing them to the back. It's just that, yeah, maybe the guitars are a little too loud, but it doesn't stop me from being able to hear and appreciate the other aspects of the sound.
Right. And in contrast, I personally feel like a lot, specifically the drums, aren't that good. The instrumentation level shown just is not. It's just very basic. Sounds like something that I could do on Rock Band. And that's not saying if this guy right here can play the drums that are on an album I'm listening to, that's not generally a good sign. And the vocals do bother me at times. I feel like and it's there's a couple songs where I think the vocals shine. Adapt, the closer, Red Bark Trees, and even Clay. But there's some times where I just feel like the vocals just weren't up to par with what I feel like any post-punk band should be, because that's kind of a big part of post-punk. Is to have a vocalist that just captivates you, like Marky Smith or something like that. But he just the guy just sounds kind of withdrawn and kind of just aged and bored.
Oh yeah, I mean, and obviously, Colin has aged years. I mean, what their first album, Pink Flag, came out in like '77. So I mean, this is over 30 years later.
Pink Flag is such a classic.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And it's interesting comparing this to their old, past discography, because.
Well, it's a whole different scenario when you start comparing albums to their past discography.
But what's interesting to me is that I don't have Wire's entire discography, but listening to this in my iTunes library, this album flowed right into 154, which I believe is their third album, and it actually worked. Really, the only big difference I could tell was, Colin's voice, because it's like 30 years later, But really, as far as the production and kind of the sound and attitude, it flowed right into it, and I was like, I can't tell that big of a difference. Right. So I actually think it works quite well in the whole scheme of Wire's discography. It's definitely not their strongest, but I also don't think it's going to be their weakest. I think it's a pretty good release. Definitely, to fix some things, I said that the production wasn't as bad as I think some people made it out to be, but there's still definitely a lot of room for improvement in there. I think things could be a little crisper. They have, I don't think, ever been one of those post-punk bands that have really been for the whole like washiness thing,
Right.
and I feel like they are here. Like I said, a little bit on 154, but I feel like this is a little more to the extreme. You know, it's not like Jesus and Mary chain just all over the place. They've always been a little more tactful than that, I've thought, and not quite so much here. I would have liked a little bit more of that older style.
Yeah, and man, sometimes they get the moods on some of these songs, the way that they present the guitars, and what the guitar is doing and creating atmosphere, is really captivating at times. There are some in it, but I feel like some of the songwriting can be hit and miss. Sometimes, you know, my three favorite songs I've named a couple times already, Adapt, Clay, and Red Bark Trees, I feel like are exempt from this, but there's a couple other songs in there where I feel like they're trying to get some sort of foundation set up with whatever the guitars are doing and the drums, where it just gets into this repetitive foundation. And then what typically happens with all music, but in post-punk specifically, is that you'll have something, either another set of instruments or guitars come in, or the vocalist take the lead and kind of be this, sit on top of whatever's happening down below in the foundation, and it kind of creates what I was telling Tom was just this audio skyscraper, and it's a really cool effect, but I just don't feel like anything's there. What you have is just on top, you just have this just kind of rolling foundation. It just goes on and on and on, and nothing really is ever showcased. And I feel like what that causes is a little bit of displacement that causes me to go, this needs a little work. I still like a lot of the ideas presented on this album. The moods are fantastic. You know, it's just a kind of very fluid listen. I feel like they albumized it well.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to throw in this?
Not really.
What you feeling?
I'm feeling like a 77.
77?
I enjoyed this pretty well. I think they would have to make the songwriting more consistently good and fix a few production things to really get it up there in the 80s, but I enjoyed this.
And I think I'm just a little bit more sensitive to the song displacement. I mean, I really felt like some of these songs are really good and some of them are So, to me, that's a 68. So,
Okay.
I feel like that's where I'm going to sit with this one. Gets it in the low 70s for us, which is probably a good place to kind of give to you guys and say this is a 7-ish range, which is probably slightly higher than the average reviews this is getting. But tell us what you guys think. You know, Wire fans out there, do you like this? Maybe in comparison to Wire's discography, this isn't a very good album, but in comparison to music as a whole, what do you guys think? And let us know. Give us a comment, www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.